The House Next Door. The House Next Door by Claudine, Crangle. All alone in an open field stood a house, a sturdy little house built a long time ago from trees that once grew right where he stood. Through his front windows, he watched over long grasses that waved in the wind. The grasses could bend in the wind, but the little house had to stand his ground. Sometimes the wind blew with such force that it whistled and howled right through his walls. In the spring, driving rainstorms rattled his shutters, and in the winter, great snowdrifts would pile up against his back wall. The harshest winds came from behind, so his back shutters were closed. This was his lot. Season after season, the sturdy little house held his own, until the day the wind blew something unexpected his way. A new house had arrived. No, 2 houses. One was off in the distance to the right. The other was off to the left, quite far away. Through his side windows he could see them. Slowly, he pulled his side shutters closed. Then he bolted them tight, just like the back windows. And so the years passed. With back and side windows shuttered, the little house watched over his field. He weathered the seasons and held firm against the wind. Until one spring day, which began in the most unusual way. His floors rumbled and shook. His walls trembled. He looked out the front windows. A long gash had torn right through the middle of his field. A road. Soon they began moving in. They lined up along the road, and the road began branching into more roads, and more of them arrived. Row upon row of blank faces stared back at the little house. He slammed his front shutters shut and waited in the dark. Each time he peeked outside, he saw more of them, and more, and more, and more. When the last of his field was gone, he closed his front shutters for good. Now it was very dark and very still. It seemed that even the wind had stopped howling. Winter came, but the snowdrifts did not push up against him. Spring showers rained down, but his shutters did not rattle and slam. When summer sunshine warmed his rooftop, he cracked open a back shutter for the very first time. A great, big, long house stood behind him. He closed his shutter again. Very slowly, he opened a side shutter, just a crack. And there was the house next door. He saw a curtain waving gently through an open window. He opened his side shutter a little more and watched the morning sun move across the face of the house next door. Was he being watched too? As the sun rose in the sky, he opened the shutter a little more, and then a little more. A warm breeze blew in. The neighbor's curtain waved gently, to and fro. Night fell, and the window of the house next door began to glow with a golden light, just like his. The next morning, the little house swung open all his shutters to greet the day. He saw houses in every direction. Houses made of wood and bricks, metal and sticks, concrete and stones. Houses big and small, beautiful, strange, solid, cobbled, high, low, narrow, wide, elegant, and fascinating. And not one of them knew what the wind would blow in next. The